Hi all, welcome to War India News Hour. The question arises, should we trust the content available over the web? The internet has turned our existence upside down. It has revolutionized communications to the extent that it is now our preferred medium of everyday communication. In almost everything we do, we use the internet. Today, we can send data from one end to the world or to the other in a matter of seconds, make online presentations, live in parallel game worlds, and use pictures, video, sound and text to share our real lives, our genuine identity. Personal stories go public, local issues become global. There are 7.77 billion people in the world and 4.54 billion of them are active internet users. Asia has the largest percentage of internet users by continent or region, with 50.3% are in Asia and Europe with 15.9% market share. Kuwait is the country with the highest penetration of internet users with 99.6%, and the United States has the third highest number of internet users by country with 313 million. More users access the internet with a Chrome browser, that is 64.45%, followed by the Android device, that is 38.9%, than any other desktop or mobile device. There are 5+ million apps available in leading app stores. With so much use of the internet and information available over it, can we rely or trust on the content available over the internet? I personally feel we should not. The reason why we cannot believe everything that is on the internet is because some information can be changed to suit someone's biased opinion. Hardly any organization puts only up to 25 to 30% of their information over their website. Due to this reason, most organizations are reluctant to review what they have published, partly because of professional pride and ego. Content often goes through a major, often political process of sign-off. Once it is published, it is set in stone, in the minds of many in management. Clearly, we need better ways to review new information and make changes to existing information where appropriate. Let's look into today's headlines in War India. US warplanes come closer to Shanghai, raises tension. American warplanes have approached the Chinese mainland, with one reaching within 76.5 kilometers of Shanghai, one of the closest passes in recent years, amid deepening tensions between the two nations following the tit-for-tat closure of consulates. India's PC market shrinks 33% amid strong demand for notebooks and tablets. Shipments of desktops, notebooks, tablets and workstations in India fell 33% year-on-year in Q2 2020 to reach 2.9 million units despite the nationwide shutdown. Desktops, including workstations, were the obvious underperformers, with shipments becoming half from Q2 2019, down from 8,84,000 to 4,40,000 due to falling demand and a preference for notebooks. 275 more Chinese apps on India's radar. India has drawn up a list of 275 Chinese apps that it will examine for any violation of national security and user privacy, signaling heightened scrutiny and the possibility of more Chinese internet companies being banned in the country. This includes the gaming app PUBG, Zilli, AliExpress, as well as apps like Resso and YouLive from TikTok owner ByteDance. Samsung jumps to second place in Indian smartphone market. Indian smartphone market has seen a dynamic shift during the pandemic, as Samsung's dominance in the Indian smartphone market has been declining for the past few years, and the company has dropped to third place in Q1 2020 in terms of market share. However, now it has climbed up the ladder during the second quarter to recapture the second position amid the pandemic and anti-China issues. Hughes to invest $50 million in Bharti UK government consortium for OneWeb. US-based satellite communications player Hughes Network Systems has joined the consortium of India's Bharti Enterprises and the UK government that recently won a bid to take over OneWeb, the British firm that went bankrupt while trying to build a constellation of satellites to deliver wireless broadband globally. Ericsson to meet 5G security needs. As India increases the scrutiny of Chinese companies and their products over the national security concerns, it has a process in place to meet the security, privacy and regulatory requirements of its customers for the 5G era in the country. Ericsson India's Managing Director Nitin Bansal said the company focuses on providing competitive solutions, making its customers win in the market. EPFO withdrawals during April-July hit Rs 30,000 crores. As much as Rs 30,000 crores has been withdrawn in 4 months starting April by 8 million subscribers of the Employee Provident Fund organization. The amount has been withdrawn between April and the third week of July, which is much more than the usual outgo seen over similar periods. Due to pandemic-related job losses, salary cuts and medical expenses explain this substantial increase. Swiggy lays off around 350 employees. Swiggy is preparing its second round of layoffs as business continues to suffer during the pandemic. The food delivery major is in process to remove 350 employees across operations, marketing, cloud kitchen and product teams, according to 3 popular familiar with the matter. B.S. Rawat resigns from Bharti Infratel as CEO. Bharti Infratel's MD and CEO Devendra Singh Rawat has resigned from his post after a decade-long stint with the company. Till the time the vacancy to get filled, the operations will be managed by the next highest ranking officer under the guidance of the chairman of the board, Infratel said in the exchange filing. Google extends work from home facility till June 30th, 2021. Google on Monday said it is extending work from home facilities for its employees globally, including in India, till June 30 next year. To give employees the ability to plan ahead, we are extending our global voluntary work from home option through June 30, 2021 for roles that don't need to be in the office, Google CEO Sundar Pichai wrote in an email to staffers. Finally, if you think of the internet as the unified single entity, then no one owns it. There are organizations that determine the internet's structure and how it works, but they don't have any ownership over the internet itself. COVID update. The number of reported coronavirus cases from India stood at 14,83,983 with the death toll at 33,461. Another grim milestone has been reached, with the country now reporting in excess of 50,000 new cases per day. To conclude, in the beginning there was ARPANET. ARPANET was a network of computers housed in various universities, government agencies and research facilities. The people who built ARPANET designed many of the protocols that the internet uses today. ARPANET connected to several other computer networks and the internet was born. Citizens use data responsibly as millions of people across India and around the world stay home working, playing, socializing and getting entertained all through their home broadband internet. Fears have spiked over a possible crash of the internet, overwhelmed by the surge in usage. India's telecom operators have come up with a string of suggestions to the government to avoid such a scenario, including immediate granting of additional spectrum for telecom service providers like Airtel, Vodafone Idea and Reliance Jio. At the same time, convergence has been a much used and much abused word in the space of IT and communications over the last couple of years, but due to the COVID-19, convergence has now been pushed to the forefront of operations. Advances in software virtualization and the migration of intelligence to the cloud are driving the convergence of networking, security and storage functionality at the network edge, a crucial element in making sure that workforces dispersed by the coronavirus crisis stay effective and productive. Let's wind up for the day, but do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe to War India News Magazine. Please download the War India app for the latest news and updates, which is available on Google Play Store. Stay tuned for more updates. Thank you very much.